G'day, welcome back to Project Brupeg. Bit of a change up this week. We've got D, he's helping us do our wiring, so we're running new cable trays through the boat. How you going?
How you going?
We've taken a sunken fishing trawler and converted her to a community-funded expedition and research boat crewed by volunteers from around the world.
Because life's too short not to fight for your dream.
So what the plan is basically getting cable tray running all the way through. We're going to get all of the PowerPoints, GPOs, that sort of thing done. We're going to start powering up the front cabins, and then eventually, back over here again, we are going to convert this cupboard into our power board.
So Dee got in touch with us and is volunteering to do some electricals. The dame's off hunting for some electrical stuff.
Electrical hunting.
And if you can hear another voice in the background, that's Rebecca, who's Dee's partner, who's come up to help as well. Diederick, aka Dee, aka Sparkles, is an electrician who created an off-grid solar system on his 200-acre bush block that got affected by the 2025.
Beck and I are just running the feed for the generator. There's going to be a small generator underneath. It'll run along this tray, down the wall into the engine bay. Dame wants that wired up before I leave, and then it feeds the main switchboard, which will be behind me. We're also going to run 2 more feeds out the back. One's going to be the shore power outlet above the back door, and a 15 amp outlet on the back deck, so if they want to do anything out there, welding, that sort of stuff, as well as power points throughout this cabin. So got a bunch of cable ties to go in. I think he also wants to relocate all this solar and DC cabling onto the tray as well, so he can get the roof and the wall installed, the ceiling. So yeah.
It's simple things. It's like you're putting all of them in first and then you're running it, whereas I've not seen it before. Everyone does it as they bring along, and you've got one person holding it.
Yeah, otherwise you got to hold it and try and get it on there, and
yeah.
Whereas now you can just hang that here loose and then work your way back.
Efficiency.
Just having a look at what's going on in here. Boys and their toys. Looks good.
It's probably just when my Dame's not here, he'll be freaking out. Oh my god, I'm trying to make it all work!
No, it looks neat.
Cool. It's not the easiest space, is it?
No, it's always tight, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the big boxes and whatnot, but no, it looks good. You got to break eggs to make an omelette, yeah.
What are you doing? You're cutting it?
It's all coming apart again. There we go.
So we're getting more and more of the cable in. You can see running along here, it's all getting quite neat now. And then now we're starting to run this orange cable, which is going to be our, the first of the AC circuits.
So 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep. T minus 900 hours.
Okay, Bricky.
Alright, so let's rip this cupboard out.
We're just deciding how much of the boat to pull apart.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
How many holes and how much of the boat.
You know,
yeah.
Look at that. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah. She's not talking about the sparkly lights.
Although they're not bad either.
Yeah. Alright, time for action. Get rid of that.
Yeah, I think this is a good idea.
Yep, alright. So this is our cable run that used to be there. It goes inside the insulation. That was done years and years ago. That was just solar only, that stuff running there. What we're going to do is start running either cable trays or P-clamps, and we're going to get cabling down into this area here. It'll go through that wall and then into this box. This box is going to become, with the door off, this box is going to become our distribution board. So from here down, it's going to be filled with DIN rails so that we can start putting in the likes of this sort of thing here. So circuit breakers, RCDs, that sort of thing. This is a DIN rail. We've just got longer, more of them, better, etc. that's going to be put into this area here. He asked for a slightly bigger hammer, so I got him one.
My hammer's not big enough.
There you go, that'll knock it out.
My drill's not big enough.
There's nothing wrong, I mean it's cute, like don't get me wrong. Right, so we just need some conduit stuff to put around there, don't we? Done.
Okay. Well, should we figure out how to get this tray on?
Yeah. All right, so we'll do the same again, 20 mil.
Yeah, just next to it, I guess. Oh, that's not meant to stretch.
The plan in here, now that we've got the new head unit fitted for the air conditioner, we're going to sort out our cable tray. So we're going to keep this guy here, this 150mm cable tray. We'll bring another one up along onto this beam and we'll run all the way down over towards that window, and we'll split off because we've got a couple of cables there. You can see a cable tray going down behind the insulation. There's another one over there going down to that power point there, and we've got to basically get those cables up and onto the roof and then through into the studio. This is the 150 that we're using. Everything's a bit chaotic, but we've got basically power coming through, some power points over there, and then if I spin around, we've got a 150 running along the roof, and that needs to come down to sort of over this area here so we can power up the desk. So time to start getting some trays attached to the roof to get the AC through to the front of the boat. We've lived with load shedding and power lines for so long. Right, so we need to nip off those power lines. I'll cut those back as well, but something like that.
Yep. I think that's pretty square.
Okay, I'll just put a mark there. Yep, alright, I'll just rivet it from that point on.
Maybe back a bit so you can build a wall or not.
Something like that.
Yep.
Two, four, 6 left. I'll start undoing the power lines. Get rid of these guys out of their way. So it's possible that I wired this like a drunk person.
At the moment or previously?
Previously on ER. I've got cables going over top of other cables and I can't undo them without stripping half the boat apart and fucking moron, Dave. Right, cutting this power cord in half.
Make sure it's turned off.
Yeah, it's not off at both ends. I'm just removing power lines that were strategically placed.
You're swearing at yourself.
Yeah, just like going, what the fuck are you thinking when you wired that like that?
Happy memories.
Right, so you want this one tied off, don't you? Am I zipping this one?
Yeah, that one can get tied off to there, I think.
Yep. We're starting to get there. In the roof here you can see the cables are starting to be laid into the tray. D is in one cabin doing cable trays and cable runs down to the bottom. He's got a power point down there, and then if we spin around there's another power point on this wall here, sort of laid into the insulation and so on, and there's cable trays to get the cables over that way. We'll put another power point, this 4 block will be up on the wall over here somewhere. Same as this one here that's also wired into the kitchen area or galley area. There's another 4 block in this corner over here. You can see it against the wall there. And the cable comes out the top, runs over into the middle and up into the cable tray. There's another 2 connector going down on the wall there. And then in the studio, we've got a connector wired up down in the corner there, or about to be wired up down in the corner. And then we've got the few points over there, and then also one down on roughly on the wall somewhere here for like vacuum cleaner, something like that. Now, in the wheelhouse we have the boards that we need to create for this area here. So all of our cables, etc., are leading up to this big black box, and that's going to become our power distribution area. Our power distribution DIN rail boards are coming together. So this is a DIN rail, and this is what we have to mount into that cupboard. Essentially, this controls all of our power. So we've got safety switches, changeover switches, RCDs, breakers. They're all getting mounted into these DIN rails. There's a faceplate that goes on them that makes them nice and neat. And we've left a bit of room for some expansion, but we need to create a board that this sits into. So this is going to be our switchboard. It's all going to be covered in the black, lovely, fluffy material that we use for the dash, but basically this is going to be the layout. So when you open the cupboard, you're going to see all different breakers, safety switches, etc. Can't remember the name of this one, but it does the generator, so shore power or genset, depending on which side, and it breaks before makes, if you're a Sparky and you're wondering. We've got room for expansion, so this is not used at all, but we've got plenty of room if we ever need it. And then on this side, we're allowing for like switches, lights, gauges, anything like that that we don't know at the moment. But for now, this is going to deal with everything. We're thinking maybe DC in this one. This is all AC. We're thinking maybe DC breakers over here, but that'll be covered in material shortly. I'm about to nip down and get this glued up and ready to go. Jess, over the back here, has been working on her computer.
I don't like talking much about my health, but yeah, I've had a few little injuries today. My sacral iliac's out, that's the back, and my leg has gone in my my thing. So just connective tissues can go. So I'm on rest duty for a minute.
So she's been prohibited to do any kickboxing or defending of the vessel.
That's right, no sledgehammering today.
Well, let's not rule that out. Whilst that's going on in the background, Diederick is downstairs in his room. He's having a snooze. You can sort of see the chaos. There is cables and tools and stuff everywhere. Over up the front here, we're about to get this part wired up. Lunch is being cooked up. The guys have got PowerPoints various places, so you can see we've got one here coming up around the room, we've got another one fitted over there. We've got DC circuits for lights, and one of them's lights, one of them is our linear actuator for our hatch above the roof. If I spin around, we've got a hatch, has a linear actuator on it, and that allows Jess to just open and close this hatch using this essentially electric ram. If you don't know what these are, they basically extend in and out using a little electric motor, so that's a pretty cool way of doing ventilation up front. And then in the office, or the studio, you can see we've got cables coming through, going down, and then there's power points on the wall. There's more underneath over the back there, or sorry, over there. We've got one about to go in just down in here. The guys have put one under there. You can see there's a 4 connector over the back there. So this room should theoretically be powered up soon. So again, lights up here are all going to be DC. For now, they're held in pretty structurally with multiple zip ties. And then this is also getting linear actuators, so there's mounts and stuff to be put into there, but we haven't got around to actually fitting it yet, but that's to do. So I use contact adhesive when I'm gluing this stuff on. I use a lot of it, and pretty like full on. Just spray this stuff on. You only really need to spray the edges because it's not going to go anywhere once it's on there, if that makes sense. Sometimes I do a couple of layers of this stuff. Right, Now we need to do the material. Can't always plan for these things, but you want to make sure you do this on the windiest day you can find for some time. Just makes it easier to get it everywhere else, you know, where you were hoping to not get it. So these edges will get folded over, so none of these are going to be touching the wood yet. But in here, you will be starting to touch the wood. You can see I'm not really delicate with how much I put on. Don't quite remember where the little bits are. They're not there, just remembered. Give that a bit of time to dry and then we can start sticking them together. This is our new power distribution board. So we've made it pretty with some suede, and then these are all of our circuit breakers, our safety switches, and this is our changeover for genset or shore power, and then we've got the feed from the shore or feed from the genset coming in through breakers. And this is spare. This is not getting anything at this stage. Probably going to maybe use that later for DC, I don't know, but something that's spare essentially. And we've also got a bit of room for expansion down here on AC. And then we've got stuff space, so we don't know what we may use this for, but we have space to put something in there. We're going to put these in little green 240 volt lights. They light up, so when there's power coming in from shore power, you'll have a little green light, and that means that if the power goes out and we're wondering what's going on, we can come in here, and if it hasn't blown the switch, we can then look at the green light, and if the green light's out, we know that there's like the grid has a power cut and we're not getting power, or something like that.
Or the genset.
Or the genset, or yeah.
Or the inverter.
Yeah. So it'll light up for all of the different inputs for power. Yeah.
So you're having fun with your label maker?
This is a new label. I don't know how to drive it, so every time I make a label I end up with these massive borders. So we're trimming them off with the scissors because I don't know how to drive it yet.
That's how brother makes money.
Yeah. Big label.
Well, a big label.
The conspiracy of big label.
So shore power, 16 amp. Generator 20 amp, that's probably going to be bigger later when you get a bigger generator. That feeds the top side of the changeover switch. So you have live and neutral from shore power, live and neutral from the generator, and then you have the inverter, and then that feeds that safety switch. The safety switch, it measures the power going through the active and back through the neutral. If there's a difference of 30 milliamps, that means the power's gone somewhere else, potentially through you. That's how the safety switch works. It's also a 40 amp circuit breaker, so it's a combination RCD and MCB. It will also trip if you go over 40 amps. That then gets distributed to these circuits. Kind of make sense?
So tidy.
So now we're going to mount it and start actually putting all the cabling through into the right area. You can kind of see side on how it all sits as well. It's going to fit now that I put all the material on.
Yeah, it's beauty.
Yeah, awesome. Is that the rivet size you've got in there?
Yeah, hold up. Magnifique.
Right, bring those around. We've had a tragic accident on Brupeg. Thousands have died.
Damien screwed up.
Yeah. Done. So where are we actually up to? What have we got to do?
We've got to strip all the cables.
Yeah.
Prep them up.
Yep.
Make them sort of the same length, and then we'll find a home for them on the board.
Oh, you know what we haven't done is engine room power, and that's 15 amp though, and downstairs your room, just sort of zip them together or something.
I think we should just twist them all together.
Whatever you want.
It's so difficult, mate. People like being told what to do.
YouTube, that's where you need to be then. Step 1, do it to standard. Wrong.
Can you heat shrink those before we forget and liven up and someone gets a tickle on their forehead?
The soldering.
Specifically me, because I'm probably
in there. Yeah.
I'm the only one tall enough.
Yeah. I thought we clarified though, if you don't have a mohawk, you'll be fine. Oh no, actually that's low enough for Jess to have a mohawk.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. They don't call me Sparkles for nothing, mate. You should have a changeover switch for the inverter as well.
Okay.
So I know you got the shore power changeover, but if the inverter fails, you just want to run the generator and bypass the inverter, then you need another one again.
Ah, okay, got you.
Dame's literally walking to plug the shore power in.
We've disconnected Brupeg from the shore, and now we just need to, this is our 15 amp shore plug. It's not a screwy in jobby, but it does have that capability, but we're just trying out the whole system for now. Okay, shore power, done.
Oh, it's about to happen. Am I on? Yep.
So
tell Damien
You're in?
I'm away 6 inches from the socket and then jump to something.
Okay, you're in.
Oh, it's on?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not hearing any sizzling noises.
no. There's a furrowed brow though.
Oh, can we do this on video?
Yeah.
I'd like to see this.
You normally turn it on when you're tired. You expend all your energy to get it to that stage.
Oh, you know where we fucked up here?
Where, what?
It's, what's the time?
After 5?
Yeah, and what day is it?
Oh yeah, Friday, good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to catch fire.
Definitely gonna work.
Yep.
How's that going?
Yep, perfect.
Where are you?
Hey, how you doing there?
Good, thanks. I'm Diederick.
Sorry, just gonna. Troy, you've got the whole team. I can't get you. Yeah, there you go. Everyone's here. Just can't get you all on camera.
The changeover switches, are they switching both neutral and active?
Yeah,
Beauty.
yeah. We've got 240. We're good. I can turn the inverter feed on, and now we're at 230 straight off the inverter. So it's no longer getting feed from the inverter's no longer getting fed because I turn that off.
Yep.
When I turn it back on, it'll take a few seconds to transfer, I think.
So those switches all break before they make?
This is break before it makes.
Yeah. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Alright, we'll go test the power points.
Oh man.
Power safety switch works.
You guys won't know yourselves.
I know.
No way.
Power.
Woo!
Yeah, we're good.
Oh,
Okay.
That's good.
There's literally shit everywhere.
you need to actually leave those boxes. You. Amazing, amazing, amazing.
That one over there is going.
One less cable.
Yeah, one of these cable. Whoop, whoop. A plug down in there.
Yeah, good.
It's working.
Look
Good.
at that, look at that. It's, oh my gosh. It's amazing, it's amazing.
Yep.
We got one under the desk.
Yep.
It's working.
And where else? Kitchen.
Kitchen. One in the corner over the back.
Yep.
Cool.
Another
Oh,
one
down on
over
the ground. Down on the ground on the wall.
Wow, there's quite a few, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Plug that in.
Where else? Oh, up here. Got up here on the wall.
Cool.
No way.
That's us,
You may
yeah.
notice there's a new air conditioning unit there. I'll just throw that out there. Alright, so it all works. The only thing we haven't got is a couple of 15 amp feeds. So that's that cable there is a 15 amp feed that's locked off at the moment. And downstairs, engine room and the freezer rooms right now are still to do. We're starting to undo all of the overhead power lines that we used to have running around the boat. We're starting to get less and less overhead power lines. Everything's zip tied where it needs to be. Jess is cooking up a bit of a storm. And then in here, you may remember we used to have a morass of overhead lines. They've all gone. This was a board up here that we had everything plugged into, gone. They're starting to get, it's quite cool as more and more stuff gets piled on the floor there. With the boat now powered up, it was time to fit our lovely new electric cooktop. This is something that we've been looking forward to for a long time. I put it in the hole, shimmied it, jiggled it, had a bit of a look around it, moved it into the corner some more, put my fingers underneath it, looked at it from a different angle, got a second opinion, and confirmed it didn't fit. It's not so much that it's too big, it's just that this gap here is far too big to fill up with adhesive. On the board, Dee started adding these little green lights to any live power. So we've got a few more to add, but basically what this tells us is that right now on shore power, we have live shore power coming into this breaker. The breaker's working and the boat's being powered up. So the boat is running from shore power. Likewise, you can see the genset breaker here is not lit up, so there's no power coming in from the genset. Now, if this breaker has blown, we know that there's either a problem on the boat or a problem on the shore power, and this light helps us determine which one it is. So if this breaker hasn't blown and this light's gone out, we know that there's a problem from the grid supplying the boat. If the breaker's blown but this light is still on, we know the problem is on the boat side. It also works really well as a visual to show that we've got live power going into that box. We need to be a bit careful. With that done, it was time to get the generator and engine room wired up. So this cabling here runs the power for the engine room, and it goes across the top here in this cable tray. Once we've got that down into the conduit, we had to sort the generator cable. This big black cable here goes down through the floor using the mag drill. So we take out the insulation, drill the hole that we need to so that we can put a stainless cable gland in there, and then start feeding the cable through. Tighten the cable up so it's nice and watertight, and then we're into the engine room. In the engine room, Dee is running 15 amp circuits to everywhere we can think we'll need power in this room. And I pull a faceplate off our small 5 kilowatt generator so we can start connecting this to the circuits. So with that complete, we have our shore power. Our neat cable trays plugged into the roof here. We go past our YouTube box, and then we have our breaker board. This is turning out to be more and more neat as we get things organised around that. Up the top, we've got a shelf that we're going to use for modems and so on. In the YouTube box, we've added 8 plugs in here so that we've got lots of charging ability for our cameras and so forth. All of our chargers and USBs and so on hanging around the side here. I'm thinking in the back I'll put a hole so that we can drop all of the cords and chargers down and just have them coming up to the appliance. There's room behind the drawers, so that's okay. In this part of the boat, back here in the corner of the saloon, we have our cable for the genset running through the deck, going up to the roof, along the cable tray, and it's working its way back to the distribution board where Dee is just completing the final wiring.
We just said goodbye to Dee and Rebecca a couple of days ago. They're on the road heading back south. Thanks guys for so much of your help and your understanding. And I just really want to say thanks, Rebecca. For the first time ever, I spent a week with someone who has a similar condition to me. She has an autoimmune condition. It was an amazing experience. I feel understood, and Dee, her partner, Dee, you were amazing. Just every now and again you'd see me in pain or finding something hard and you'd just ask if I needed help, and no judgment, complete understanding. It was an incredible way.
It was awesome.
It amazing. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Most people who have these conditions, struggle with doctors not understanding. It was just so healing to talk it all through and learn about her ways of managing severe pain as well, and exhaustion, and yeah, it was phenomenal, guys, and you got so much done. But Dane's going to now explain to you why sometimes it's not a good idea to use stainless steel beer kegs as a pressure vessel. We did not know. But that's the beginning of the next episode. Have a great week, everyone.